Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to tell you all the story about how I met my husband here in Haiti. So back in 2015, I was set to start grad school in the fall, so I decided to spend summer vacation in Haiti. So that summer, I planned to mainly be at my mom's house in Gonaive. So my mom was actually from Plaisance, but she built our family house in Gonaive. Even though she didn't live in Haiti, she just wanted to have a house for my grandma and my brothers, and also for when she would just go back to Haiti. So I get to Gonaive and I spend the first week with my grandma, which is what I would usually do, which is what I always looked forward to. Just imagine Tonton Bicha. Like, she's like Tonton Bicha, but the woman version.
Ben bon, y a livraison à domicile fait. Anne, vous li, vous voici poids ou jaune. Vous pensez c'est Mimi? C'est pas toi, ouais. C'est pas toi.
So when I get to the part where I actually meet my husband and my grandma is involved, just imagine Tonton Bicha or like a grandma from the north. That's how she was acting. So anyway, the first week goes by and we get to Sunday. And I actually had to go to Port-au-Prince that Monday, and I had to get there very early, so I had to go on the first bus. And so my brother, my oldest brother, he was like, he's going to Plaisance just for the day, he'll be back. And I'm like, well, around what time do you think you'll get back? Because I actually need to go to the bus station to get a ticket for tomorrow morning. And so I was like, if you're gonna come back early enough, like let me know and I'll just go with you. If not, I'm just gonna go on a camionnette. A camionnette is a form of public transportation here. And so if he couldn't take me, then I would just go on a camionnette. And so I just said, let me know so I can know what to do. So a few hours go by and he calls me and he says, I'm on my way. You can get ready. I'll be there soon. And so I get ready and he shows up. But he shows up with two people. The first person, Michael, I know Michael. I've known Michael my entire life. He's actually my other brother's like best friend. But there was this other person that I've never seen before. And I was like, who is this? I was like, oh, he's cute. Who is he? So I just kind of kept looking at him, like maybe trying to see if I could figure out if he was like my age or not. And also I just wanted to see like their interactions. Like I'm like, who is this person? So since my brother called me ahead of time to give me a heads up that he was on his way, I was actually ready by the time they got there. But there was like this really big soccer game that was on and it was close to ending. So it's not like they were there for a long time. So they just wanted to like watch the end of the game before we go to the station. So the game ends and it's time for us to go. So we all hop in my brother's truck and I end up sitting in the back seat next to Sami. So we're all in the car talking and Sami and Michael say they both have to go to the station as well to get their tickets to go back to Port-au-Prince the next day. So we go to the bus station and we get our tickets. We were also hanging out somewhere, I think like on the road. Like, I don't know what we were doing, but I have a picture from the very first day that we met because we were looking up something on our phones and Michael took the picture of us. So I have a picture from the very first day that we met. We're standing next to each other, looking up something on our phones. And so I don't know where we were. I feel like we might have been outside of the bus station or we may have been somewhere else, but we were hanging out a little bit. So the whole time that we're hanging out, I just kept looking at him because I'm just like, man, how old is he? Like, I really wanted to know because I thought he was really cute. So we finally dropped him off at his brother's house. His brother lived in downtown. And so Michael's family lived close to where we were. So Michael was going with us. So once we dropped him off at his brother's house, it was just the three of us and we ended up stopping somewhere else. And so I asked Michael, I said, Michael, like, how old is Sami? And he was like, oh, he's born in like 92. When I tell you, like, I would never date anybody even 1 year younger than me, I was like, oh, nah. I was like, okay, cool. As soon as he told me that, any attraction that I had literally went from like here to there. Like, I didn't feel nothing. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. So the next morning, my brother takes me to the bus station super early because I had to be there before 6 because the bus was leaving at 6 and Sami was actually closer to the bus station. So he got there before me. So we get there pretty close to 6. So I am rushing in. Even though I already had a ticket, I still had to go and speak to the people at the counter. And so as I'm trying to rush to get there, I see Sami about to go on the bus. And so I was like, hey, can you please save me a seat next to you? And he was like, sure. So I go and check in and then I go to walk on the bus. So once I get to where he's sitting and I have to get over to my seat because he saved me the window seat, he was acting very shy. He was like, oh, I saved you the window seat. Is that fine? But the way he was speaking was so different from the day before. You know, we were together for a few hours and he was very chill, as if I was like his homegirl, like he knew me forever. So when he was acting all shy, I was thinking like, is he like feeling me or something? But in my mind, I was like, 1992, stay over there, not interested. Like, that's what I was thinking. So once I sat down, I really noticed something was different. I was just like, okay, he's acting really shy or something. And so because I was no longer attracted after hearing 92, I was like, why are you acting like that? Why are you talking like that? You wasn't like that yesterday. I'm like, are you okay? I was like, what's wrong? Straight up, I was like, you're acting really shy. Yesterday you were talking to me like, normal. What's going on? And he was like, no, whatever. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't awkward because we were going to be on the bus for like 2.5 hours. So I was just like kind of joking, like, why are you acting shy? Whatever. So we start heading to Port-au-Prince and we talk the entire ride. Like, that never happens because when I get on those buses, I am going straight to sleep. So we started talking about all types of topics. We talked about politics, social issues, religion, everything. So at the time, he was actually in university studying sociology, and I was going to start grad school that fall, and I was going to be studying international development. So there are a lot of similarities in our field. So we're talking about all of that. Like, we literally just spoke the entire ride. So at that point, I was just like, I need to really confirm how old this guy is. I was just like, how old are you? And he told me his birthday. And I was like, what? Michael told me you were born in 1992. He was like, no, let me show you my ID. So he shows me his ID. So now I knew that we were born the same year. He was born in January. I was born in April. So he's a few months older. So I was like, okay, let me give these feelings a green light. Let me turn the feelings back on. We are good to go. Because I was like, okay, we are the exact same age. So, hello. So we continued our conversation until we got to Port-au-Prince. And he actually waited with me until my cousin got there. And then once he got there, we went our separate ways. So later that day, Michael messages me and he's like, oh, I just got to Port-au-Prince. And he knew I was going to be in Port-au-Prince for like 3 days or so. And so he said, you know what, before you leave, like, let's all hang out. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go. So the next day, the three of us ended up going to Epido, which is a restaurant. They have a lot of them throughout Port-au-Prince. But I think the one that we went to was the one in Clecine. So Michael ended up getting me from Delma 33. And then we got on a camionette and went to the Epido to meet Sami. So the three of us get there and it was real cool. We were just talking, got something to drink. The school kids were there. It was like their last day of exams. So y'all know how that is. They were going crazy in the Epido. I was like, what is this? So we were entertained by that. And yeah, we're just hanging out. And it was such a good time. So we just stayed there for a couple of hours. And then Michael took me back home. And Sami went back to his house. So the next day, I ended up going back to Gonaive. And I messaged Michael. I was like, hey, don't tell Sami this, but I kind of like him. And he was like, yeah, I think he like you too. I think he like you too because he was being real shy at the AP doll. Usually he's more vulgar than that. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, he just was really shy. I understand what was going on. I think he like you too. So we started talking pretty much every day on WhatsApp. And I remember I actually had to go to Turks and Caicos for a few days. It was my cousin's birthday. She was having like a birthday dinner. So I went to Cap Haitien and then I flew from there to Provo. And I spent 5 days there. Then I came back. But even while I was over there, we were talking on WhatsApp the whole time. When I came back, we were talking. And then we were like, you know what? Like, let's hang out. So he said, okay, I'm going to come to Gonaive for the weekend. Let's go and do something fun. So while he was in Gonaive, we're going to have our first official date on our own. And so I'm like, yeah, we should definitely do something, fun, not, just go to a restaurant. Like, let's do something, different. So I always wanted to go to Pasquin to swim in the river. So I was like, let's do that. So when you leave Gonaive to head to the north, you're going to pass this place called Pasquin. And you get there before you even get to Enri. So it isn't even far, but there's this river. There are women selling mangoes and they sell the really small mangoes. They're like this big. You'll always see them on the side of the road and there's a river behind them. I've always wanted to go. And so I was like, let's go, let's do that. I was really looking forward to the weekend. I messaged my mom. I was like, I'm going to go out with Sami. he's so-and-so's son. And instantly she was like, oh, his mom is my friend. We used to go to Why Not Met together. You know, everybody in Plaisance knows each other. So instantly she knew who I was talking about. And she was like, yeah, we used to go to Why Not Met and buy goods from there and resell in Plaisance or whatever. Yeah, I know Sami. Cool. Since my brother is the one who came to the house with him, I was like, okay, I just need to let him know that I'm going to go out with him over the weekend. So he definitely wasn't feeling the whole idea. And he definitely told my mom, because my mom went from, oh, I know his mom. I know Sami. His mom is my friend. We used to do this and that. Oh, great. Have fun. To, I don't think you should go out with Sami. And I was like, why? She was like, oh, you know, I used to know him when he was in Plaisance. Now he moved to Port-au-Prince. I don't know what kind of friends he has in Port-au-Prince. He might be involved in all types of things. You should not go out with him. Don't go to Paslen. I was like, Mom, what is going on here? We just spoke about it and it was perfectly fine. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. She just kept mentioning Port-au-Prince. She was like, you know, when people are good kids in Plaisance, all of a sudden they go to Port-au-Prince and they change. They become different people. I don't know him anymore. So I started explaining to her how he's friends with Michael and how we went out in Port-au-Prince and all of that. Like, Michael is so close to our family. Even though he's my brother's friend, he's the type of friend that could stay at my mom's house without my brother even being there. Like, that's how close he is to the family. So I was just like, what is the issue here? And she knows his family. So if anything happens to me, she knows where to find his family. We're going to be in a public space. I was so confused. I was like, what is the problem here? You know, but then I realized that my brother was just being very overprotective. And he was recruiting everyone to get on his side. When he recruited our grandma, I was like, okay, this whole situation is going to be over before it even starts. I mean, I'm talking about grand opening, grand closing, because my grandma talks so much. She was like, Kat, if I'm telling you upset, I'm going to see that kiss with Plaisance. I was like, yes, I sure am. Then she started turning up and she was like, Y'all, I was laughing the whole time because I was just like, Gun, who recruited you to go off like this? So when she said qui est-ce qui m'étaye, mind you, she has a North accent. So other people would say qui est-ce qui m'étaye. You know, instead of I, they say Lee. That must have been something they used to say back in slavery time, like who is his owner? And it just carried on until present time, like in the area that she's from. And so I was just like, Grandma, what? I knew what she was trying to say, but I was just like, she was really going off. Like, she did not want me to go out. So we were supposed to go that Saturday, but they were just talking so much. Like, I was waiting for them to get over it, but they weren't. And it was getting late. I was just like, man, I thought they was going to be tired of talking. My mom was on WhatsApp talking. My grandma was speaking so loud. Like, I'm pretty sure the whole neighborhood knew. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't make sense for us to go right now because by the time we get there, it's just going to be too late. So let's just go somewhere, you know, here. So we ended up going to Celeste, which is a restaurant in downtown Gonaïve. It was still cool, but I really wanted to go to Paslen. So during the dinner date, I was like, I still want to go to Paslen. Do you want to go? And Sami was like, yeah, I want to go. So I'm like, let's go tomorrow. Because at the end of the day, I already knew there was no danger for me to go. I spoke to my other brother, my brother who's 2 years older than me. So he's younger than our oldest brother. And I'm like, do you know Sami? Because everybody's tripping, saying, you know, I shouldn't go out with him, whatever. And he was like, yeah, I know Sami. He's a cool guy, whatever. Yeah, you know. So I already knew it was just my oldest brother being super overprotective, and he recruited the whole family to, you know, try to stop me from going out and all this stuff. So I just knew there was no danger for me to go. So I'm like, tomorrow, let's go. So I told my grandma I was gonna go. I was like, good, I'm going to Paslen. Don't even waste your time talking because I'm still gonna go. But of course, what did she do? She followed me out the gate. She was just going off, like just doing the most. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you would have thought I was like 17 years old or something. I was 24. I was like, Grandma, please stop the madness. So we get on a camionette and we go to Pascagoula. Once we got there, we bought some mangoes. We bought like a little mini bucket. So they usually sell them in these like little mini buckets and you'll see them along the road. So we bought one and yeah, we just hung out there. It was so much fun. It was literally the best date I've ever been on. We went swimming, we ate some mangoes, we chilled and talked. Like, it was so much fun. Like, when I tell you I've never been on a date that fun. It was time to go back to Go Naive. We wanted to get there before sunset. Once we got back, they just looked really surprised that we actually went. But I'm looking at everybody like, at my big age, I thought I wasn't gonna go. Like, come on now. Anyway, we spent the rest of the summer hanging out. Of course, we were in 2 different cities. I was in Go Naive, Sami was in Port-au-Prince, but he would come to Go Naive as much as he could. We had the most adventurous dates. Like, I remember one day we were like, let's go to Plaisance. So we went to Plaisance and I actually met his mom. And the first thing she says to me, she was like, I used to hold you when you were a baby. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, when your mom used to come and take you to the hospital, I used to hold you. Because, you know, we're from the mountain part of Plaisance. So everything is pretty much in the book. So you would have to go down the mountain to the book to do like a lot of things, like the hospital, the schools are there, the churches are there. So there's like a lot of things like in the book and not really in the mountain part. So his mom was just explaining to me how she would hold me when I was a baby. I'm pretty sure she never imagined that I would end up marrying her son. But yeah, it was so cool that that happened. And I just felt like it was really meant to be. And, you know, Gun ended up being so cool with Sami after that. I remember asking her like literally 2 weeks later, I'm like, now that you met Sami, what do you think? She was like, "Di pa ganyan, no? So tipi ay shesh." I was like, what? Like, when I tell you, I just love her so much. Like, she is so funny. So we hung out for the rest of the summer until I had to leave and go back to the States to get ready for grad school. And we ended up getting married 4 years later. So we've been together for 7 years now. So yeah, that is the story about how I met my husband here in Haiti. Please stay connected with me on Instagram, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.